Hi everybody, this is the Nerdy Harry channel, and I'm Anthony, and I have a very special guest today, my co-host, my good friend, Skyler. How's it going, Skyler?
Good to be here.
Oh man, thanks so much for filling in. Joey, unfortunately, could not be here, but we are going to be doing this special horror movie podcast. And so thank you so much for doing this. You're not just a friend of mine. You're actually our only, probably maybe one of two people that actually like our channel. That may actually listen to our videos or podcast or whatever. Hey, and by the way, let's do a quick shout out to Brandon, Jackson, and Zoe. Hey, you guys, if you listen to this, your dad's on here.
Yep, y'all better behave.
He's watching. All right, so let's get this started. Okay, in this episode, we're going to be doing our top 10. Okay, see that I'm already going to emphasize our top 10 favorite horror movies, right? So this is not the typical horror movies that everybody else may be like, oh, what about this or The Exorcist? Or even though Exorcist, I don't know if it's on your top 10 list, but this is our top 10 favorite. You know, so you excited about this?
Oh yeah, I had my list done within a minute of you telling me.
Oh wow, I'm not even done with my list. I finished it. Well, hold on. I'm still in the process of finishing it. So maybe I can finish it by the end of this podcast. So why do you like horror, Skyler? I mean, is it like one of your favorite genres? Is it your favorite genre or what?
It's my favorite next to sci-fi.
Okay. All right. Why do you like horror? Now, did you like it as a kid or or did you just start like it more as an adult?
Oh, I liked it from a kid. My dad got me started on it. My earliest memories of a horror movie was when The Exorcist came out on TV.
Wow, yeah, The Exorcist.
And my grandmother lived next to each other. And so my dad watched it at my aunt's house. Everybody had to leave the house. He was the only one allowed in there to watch it. And then my uncle had to come in and bless the house again after it was over.
What?
So,
oh my gosh, man.
From that moment on, I was like, well, yeah, I like this stuff.
You go from Scooby-Doo to, hey kids, we're really fixing to rock your world. The Exorcist. I remember the first time I seen The Exorcist, which, by the way, I'd asked my mother one time a couple years ago, hey, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? I don't know, I was intrigued by the answer. And she said The Exorcist. I seen it. I believe she said she saw it at the drive-in when it first came out, and she said she didn't sleep for 24 hours after she's seen it. And can you imagine watching it back then? Like today, we've been desensitized to everything we've seen, but like back then in the late 70s, that was probably like a mind blower.
Oh yeah.
And pea soup, that was out the window.
My grandpa used to run the theater in Albany, Kentucky.
Oh wow, okay.
And my mom, as little girls, would go and watch, and they would watch horror movies. And she said you could see the skulls with the string flying through it.
That is awesome.
But it terrified them.
Oh my gosh, that is so cool. Okay, so first time I seen The Exorcist, since you mentioned The Exorcist first time you seen it, the first time I seen it, I was living with my grandmother. I moved in after I graduated. And so I was like, I wasn't a big horror movie fan when I was a kid. I was scared to death of them. My imagination ran wild with them. My brother can attest to that because I was scared to death of Freddy Krueger. And which, by the way, Skyler brought me the first Nightmare on Elm Street comic book, which is insane. And you know what's funny? It says it's a Marvel magazine.
Yeah.
It's Marvel. I wonder if Voorhees is DC. Maybe that's why they don't like each other. Okay, so but the first time I seen The Exorcist, my grandmother, who would have to go stay with my aunt in Nashville, which is where she'd have to go to the doctor. So I'd be, an hour away or whatever, have the house to myself. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch The Exorcist. I've never seen this movie. And if you're going to jump in the deep end, if you're going to jump in the pool, you jump in the deep end, learn how to swim. And so I rented it, and I waited till nighttime to watch it. All the lights are off. Yeah. This is insane. What am I doing? And, man, I was scared out of my mind when that movie was over. That was insane. After it was over, what was really freaky is the girl, man, Linda Blair.
Yeah.
Stuff she said, and Dude, that is
crawling down the stairs.
Yes. I mean, even back then, man, that was on a whole nother level,
that
dude.
Still gets me now. I don't.
I've not watched it in. Excuse me. When was the last time I watched it? Oh yeah, the night of my grandmother's. I haven't watched it either.
I haven't seen it since either.
Okay, guys. So really excited about this episode because horror is probably it's so close between that and comedy. You know, Skyler said sci-fi. I'll say comedy is right there with my horror. But I'm really excited for this. And again, thank you so much, Skyler. Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so we're not going to, I guess we don't have to do a particular order. We don't have to number them, but I know what my number one is. I'll definitely save that for last. But in the meantime, all right, what's your first one you're going to throw out there?
I have a Nightmare on Elm Street.
A Nightmare on Elm Street. So why was this, did this scare you as a kid?
Oh, yeah, for a month. I slept with the light on for a month.
Oh, gosh. Now, what scared you? Was it, okay, obviously, Freddy is scared. Did the movie just scare you, or was it just Freddy?
It was the fact that something could get you in your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, well, then I don't ever want to go to sleep again.
Because you have to go to sleep. I mean, that's the genius of the movie. I mean, that's what's so great. Like, I always thought, when I used to do a little bit of, like, I don't know, stand-up comedy, I would try to write everything. And I always thought to myself, like, you know, the thing about horror movies is Jason Voorhees, you don't have to worry about Jason unless you go to camp. I mean, You're good. You're good with Jason. Like Michael Myers, you only got to worry about him one night of the year. But Freddy, sooner or later,
everybody's going to get it.
You got to go to sleep. That's right, man.
And see, what got me with this movie is the first time I ever seen it, we were living in Florida. And my mom will be mad if I tell this, but it was with my dad's youth group. He rented that movie and the youth group watched it. And he told my mom, said, well, I'm showing them what evil is.
Well, hey, there you go.
And I only watched the movie from the corner of the couch. Wow. Kind of like peeking around, and I'd watch it, and I'd go back, and that was it.
Wow, man, that's crazy. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, I'll say this, it's not on my list because it's not my favorite horror movie, but now if I want to talk about a horror movie that scarred me as a kid, scarred both in this instance, it would definitely be a Nightmare on Elm Street when Nicole and I went to the Walker Stalker Con near the beginning of the year when she got me tickets for that. Robert Englund was there, and man, you talk about like that dude because it's Freddy, man. I mean, even without his makeup, you know, he's Freddy. But he told a really cool story when he was on the stage. He was answering questions and whatever, and he tells this story about how he just could not get into the character of Freddy when he first started doing it. He couldn't do it. He wasn't feeling where it was supposed to come from. And so, like, he fell asleep in the trailer in between takes or whatever. He went back to his trailer or whatever room and fell asleep with his makeup on. All right. So, like, while he's asleep, you know, yada yada, he gets into real deep sleep. He said, and then he gets a knock on the door, and they're like, "Hey, you know, Robert, let's go, whatever." And so he raises up, and he said, and this is wild to hear him tell this story, but he's like, so here he is in this dimly lit room, in the dark, and he's like, I've got this horrible breath on my, because you know when you wake up, he's like, you've got this breath on you. He said, I woke up and I raise up and I look in the mirror and I see myself, and he goes, that's when I saw it. That's when I knew what I wanted to do. And I was like, oh my gosh, can you imagine waking up with
that? Yeah. That'd be great.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Okay, so Skyler, first one is A Nightmare on Elm Street, and that's actually the first. I can't remember. Did Wes Craven do that? Yeah, he did that one. Was that his first one?
I believe it was.
Okay, because did he also do The Hills Have Eyes as well? The original. I could be wrong on that, but I think he did The Hills Have Eyes, but it may have been around the same time. Okay, so, all right, so very good one for your first one on the list, Skyler. I'll say for my first one as well, I'll throw Insidious.
Excellent movie.
I know. It's a 2011 movie directed by James Wan, and it was something that was really cool when I was kind of reading about this. Lee Whannell wrote it. Do you know who Lee Whannell is? Lee Whannell is the guy who plays Specs in the movie. He wrote the movie.
Really?
Yeah. And so and he was actually also in Saw with James Wan. James Wan, who directed Insidious, directed Saw. And after he did Saw, he got heavily criticized for the gore in it. And a lot of people are saying, you can't do this. You can't do a scary movie without that gore. Then he was getting criticized for that. So that's why he did Insidious. Why he wanted to direct Insidious, to show that he can make that movie without the gore.
And it's good.
I know.
Oh,
it's so creepy.
My kids and my niece got me to watch it. And I was like, oh, we're going to see every other one now.
And what's wild is the guy who does the music. At the beginning, I love the music for Insidious, the violins and stuff. I know at the beginning when the titles come up, Insidious, the violin score is like 47 violins playing at once, I read. And the guy who did the music for it is the guy that plays the red-faced monster. Joseph Bashara, the guy who does the music, is the monster. Now, isn't that wild?
He's the best character in a horror movie so far.
I know, man. Like, out of the past, I'll say this about Insidious. I think it's the best horror movie in the past, in the 2000s. What is your next horror movie?
Poltergeist.
Oh, gosh. Okay, tell me about Poltergeist. Why is it on your list?
All right, the clown. That little clown doll.
Ding, 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 ding. Little bells.
We watched it, and we lived overseas at the time, and I sat there in between my dad and watched that movie for the first time. Scared me to death. Went to bed, laid there, and had the blankets up around my eyes. My sister had that doll. No. The clown doll that attacks the boy, and she threw it on my bed.
Oh, that's so messed up.
Nope. I haven't watched that movie since.
Are you serious?
That was 89, 90.
Man, have you read about the things that went on with that movie, about how many people have died since that? That's really freaky. I don't like to mess with Poltergeist.
No, and that's why I don't really. I like it, but I don't really want to watch stuff like that because it could happen.
I know. I completely agree, Skyler. I'm with you on that. One thing I will say about Poltergeist that was pretty wild. Now, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. Which is very interesting, and of course, if Spielberg's going to do something, he's going to do it all in, authentic. But did you know, like, the skeletons when they come out of the ground and she's freaking out? And did you know those were real corpses? They never told her that until afterwards. Those are real, man. That's what I read.
That's bad.
That is so wrong. How do you do that? Where do you get skeletons? Like,
I don't want to know.
That's true. And that's how Steven Spielberg does it, folks. Real skeletons. Okay, so that's a good one. You've got Nightmare on Elm Street and Poltergeist, both classics. All right, so on my next one, I'm gonna go with. Let's see. Let's stick with Steven Spielberg, since we're talking about him right now. Jaws. I gotta throw Jaws on there. I mean, Jaws to me is a classic. Now, is this on your list later on?
Yep.
Okay, we'll talk about it a little bit more when we get to you. I won't go too in detail for it, but Jaws is definitely on my list. I mean, that's the movie where you go, okay, there's nothing wrong with swimming in pools. You can still be a man and swim in a pool.
No,
I mean,
not without. Every time I get in the pool, I hear that sound, and you look, and you think, I'm in a pool. But it doesn't matter.
There's a R.L. Stine Haunting Hour. It's like the Goosebumps show, but it's Haunting Hour on Netflix. And they actually have an episode where there's a shark in the pool instead of the ocean. And it was pretty good. It was like a kid that was Native American or something. But it was a really good episode. Okay, so I said Jaws. So Jaws and Insidious. For me, what do you got next, Skyler?
I got Army of Darkness.
Oh, you sorry dog, you. Okay, tell me why you like. All right, why is it on your list?
Wait, it's Ash. How can you not like
really,
Ash?
That's all you need to say. I mean, what makes him so cool? I don't get it. And it's not even Ash.
It's his presence.
It's Bruce Campbell, man.
Yeah, no one else could ever play that role.
Oh,
nobody. Completely
agree. Man, it's just. Oh, it's funny because I got my little cards here on, because I was going to do my Ash movie later on. Mine is an Army of Darkness, but the lines he says, groovy and Hell to the King, baby, like nobody else says those lines like Bruce Campbell, No. The sad thing is he'll always be Ash to me. Like, now I've never seen, what's the one show he did on USA?
Burn Notice.
Burn Notice. Did you ever see that?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Really? Is he okay?
He's good, but you can kind of see Ash come through a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like Michael Keaton. You're always going to see him as either Batman
or Beetlejuice. Yeah, that's true. Always. Yeah, that's very true. Like Bruce Campbell, I think he put so much of Bruce in Ash, and that's why he's forever going to be
And it's great.
Oh, yeah. Now, one thing I remember watching when I was younger, I could not get into it. I tried to watch it as an adult. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. Do you remember that like Western he played? It was on TNT.
I seen it once, and I never could get into it.
I think I seen that before I seen the Army of Darkness, the Evil Dead trilogy or whatever. So I didn't really appreciate Bruce until I seen those movies. And the thing about Army of Darkness that I love so much is it's like a Three Stooges horror movie.
Yeah. And how rare is that? You're going to go to a horror movie, but you're going to laugh 90% of it. Yeah. And that's what makes it great.
Oh, yeah. It's so true. I've got actually a comic over there. It's an omnibus comic of Bruce Campbell. It's the Evil Dead comic, and it's really awesome. I'll have to let you borrow it if you want. It's really, like I said, man, it's Bruce Campbell. Back last year, some friends, really good friends of mine, Scott Sanderson and Kelly Sanderson, got Nicole and I as gifts for our wedding, Evil Dead the musical. So we went and seen it in Nashville.
Really?
Yeah. That was wow. It was kind of speechless how crazy it was, insane. And the guy who played Ash, like he got into it. And now like you watch and you go, man, he's not Ash, but he captured the spirit of it, and he did a really good. Really enjoyed it, and then so like they actually had the splash row, the blood row. So like, if you sat in the front row, they gave you like these things to wear, like ponchos or whatever.
Did you sit in the front row?
No, we were near the back. It's okay because honestly, like, oh my gosh, they got covered, dude. Like, so like when scene was supposed to happen, everybody's supposed to get splashed, and actually Eric Mason from Countdown to Geektown, listen to this. Eric was there as well, so Eric knows what I'm talking about. But man, it was so cool. Like, so when there'd be this horror graphic scene, where somebody's arm gets chopped off or whatever, just blood comes out from the front of the stage, and just it's pretty awesome.
That's great.
Man. Yeah, that's how you do an Evil Dead the musical.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go on this one. I'm gonna say American Werewolf in London.
Classic.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find. What is it? How they did
the transformation? Yeah. To this day,
it's still the best way to do it.
Absolutely, completely agree. It's probably my favorite. Okay, here's a tough question for you. Which is better, Evil Dead trilogy? Or let's just say Army of Darkness or American Werewolf in London, horror comedy.
Oh, horror comedy?
Because when you really think about American Werewolf in London...
It was funny.
It was funny, man. When his friend keeps coming to see him and he's more and more decomposed and he's cracking... Like, what makes the movie so funny to me is he's this decomposed guy and he's just chilled out and he's relaxed and he's having a conversation with him. Even like near the end where he's basically just like... skin and bones. I mean, like, just bones nearly. And he's like, "What, David?" He's like, and it's just, and the creature effects, like you said, the transformation. Mm-hmm. Rick Baker, who won an Oscar for that, by the way. It's just insane to me, the transformation. I love that too because we just watched it recently. That was the very first movie Nicole and I watched on my 31 Days of Horror. And man, when he's just chillaxing in the living room and he just starts screaming. Because he's the full moon's out and stuff, and he starts transforming, and like you hear the bones popping and all that stuff. It is insane. And what's crazy is it's John Landis who did Animal House and Blues Brothers that wrote and directed it.
I remember my dad letting me watch it. A lot of this stuff happened when we lived overseas.
Yeah.
So it's like, we're gonna go to London? No, I don't want to go to London.
No. We'll go to Scotland. Scotland's much better. So there's American Werewolf in London for me. Okay, Skyler, moving on. What you got?
Hellraiser.
Oh gosh, man, I forgot about Pinhead.
One of the best,
dude,
horror villains.
Man. Okay, so tell me, why is Hellraiser on your list? Because that dude is...
He's evil. It's just pure evil, and I don't really know why. And out of the, and I only say there's 3 of them because everything after 3 is pretty much garbage.
Yeah, they're just like a lot of like they really kind of go their way to always show like boobs and stuff in them. That's kind of like in the 80s. Yeah, once you get past a certain number, it's like, well, we always got to have our gratuitous, nudity scene. And it's like, oh, come on. It's just totally pointless. Like, concentrate on the story. I know I'm probably one of the few guys, maybe me and Skyler are one of the few dudes that actually say, hey, let's have some story with this. We don't need, all that stuff. Because when I watch a horror movie, I want to be scared, Hellraiser, the thing that stands out most to me is the graphic violence in that movie.
Yeah, and I watched it at a very young age, and that's probably why I like stuff like that.
Yeah, the first one was so different from the other ones because the first one isn't the first one when he's in the attic, or
yes,
yeah, and the mom or the wife or whatever is kind of like obsessed with him, or
she's trying to get back with him and shuns her husband.
Yeah. That was so weird, man. He didn't have no skin on.
So gross.
I know, it was horrible, and the way people die in those movies is grotesque, man. It's really sick.
But out of the first 3 is my favorite.
Okay, I don't remember 3. What's 3 about?
3 was Hell on Earth.
Oh, okay.
And some of the symbionts in it they was a DJ at one time, and he shot CDs out of his mouth.
You think they were just having fun at that point?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what's the craziest character we can come up with now?
They all got cheesy after the first 2, really. But Pinhead, I mean, just that character. It was just something about
his presence.
Yeah,
was definitely like every time he was on it. Like while the other ones were always goofy, every time he was on the screen, you're like, oh, okay. Sorry, he's the leader. Yeah, he's the baddest one. Let's see. Let's think of the most funniest one they should have come with, like Butter Knives guy. Of course, that's more along the lines of Freddy. What else could they have done?
Cotton Candy Man.
Cotton Candy guy. Yeah, he just spits out tons of cotton candy. Enough. Okay. Wow, that's a really good one. I forgot about that one. Okay, so let's see. What am I going to throw up next? Not throw up like Exorcist, but let's say Pet Sematary.
Oh, yeah.
Man, is that... Okay.
That's Stephen King.
Yes, based on the horror novel by Stephen King. It's a 1989 movie. Do you remember the first time you watched it?
Yeah. Okay,
let's hear it. You don't have to have a huge story if you don't have it. It's totally cool. No. Okay, let's hear it.
My dad was a big Stephen King fan.
Okay.
So we've seen almost every movie that he's either had a story about or played in. And
now, were you overseas when you watched this movie?
Yeah. Well, we lived in Iceland from 88 to 93.
Yeah. Well, the first time I seen it was Laverne, so take that. I was in Laverne, Tennessee, buddy. Take that, Iceland. Okay, go ahead. Pet Sematary.
He said, you need to watch this. The book is so much better, but the movie's not bad.
I've never read the book. Is it really that much better?
So much more detail in it.
Okay.
So much more.
Did they change the names in the book, or is it still like Pascal, still the gym teacher?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
if I remember right, none of the names really changed.
Okay, so did you guys have pets at the time when you seen it? Did you think... Oh, gosh.
No. We didn't have pets till I got married.
Did Pet Sematary have something to do with that?
That's probably why I don't like cats.
Maybe psychologically. Yeah, Church. Remember Church, the cat.
The boy is what got me.
Gage.
That terrified me. Every time you see a little kid, I'm like...
And that little... And I'm getting goosebumps just thinking. Remember when he's like... Come and play.
Play with me.
Play with me. Oh, dude, because he's talking to Judd. Remember when he's talking to Judd, Fred Gwynn, who was Herman Munster?
Yep.
When he goes into his house and he gets his ankle cut.
Oh, with the scalpel.
Oh, my gosh.
I watched it, half covered my eyes. Oh, yeah. That little boy freaked me out.
Yeah. Oh, Gage was... You know what was wild is Gage is the one he was also on Nightmare on Elm Street. And he was also in Kindergarten Cop. Do you remember when he's the one that says, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah,
That's a different podcast.
Yeah. So, Pet Sematary to me is one of my favorite horror movies. It's got Dale Midikoff, who plays Louis Creed. Is it just me, or did he remind me of the guy from Wings? Joe? Joe the other, not the crazy brother, the real calm. He reminded me of Joe. And there's Denise Crosby, who played Rachel Creed. Denise was in Star Trek. She is the one, the Next Generation. But I want to tell you something that was even freakier than Gage. You ready for this? Do you remember Rachel's aunt who had the spinal bifida?
Oh, yeah. No.
Take that. I raise you a Rachel's aunt card to your Gage.
Oh, that wins hands down because she was creepy.
Oh gosh, and what was wild is when man, I'm getting goosebumps on this one too. Like when they show the scene, you're seeing it from first person view, so it's like you're playing the first person video game like Call of Duty, and you come in and she's just looking up at you like, "Help me, Rachel!" Oh man, that is so freaking. And I tell you what, I cannot watch now that I have kids. I can't even watch the Gage scene when he, bites. Oh, it breaks
I will now because I like to do that to my kids. You can ask them. I'll have to come up with stories on the way home from places, and I'll wait till it's nighttime, and I'll just recite a story, and I'll start with there was a man in a black suit, and no, we're done. We don't want to hear any more of that.
I tell you what my dad used to do to us. He would wait till, because we always live way out in the country. He would like if we'd be driving down the road, he would start kind of tapping the gas pedal a little bit and be like, "Uh-oh." And he's like, "I'm fixing to run out of gas." And so like he'd turn the lights off and be like, and he'd turn the car off and be like, "Well, guys, I don't know what we're going to do." And we'd be stuck in the middle of this road. He's just messing with us, but still, I'd be like, "Oh my gosh." Okay, so yeah, Rachel's aunt trumps your Gage's freakiness, but
hands down.
Man, that was a really good movie. By the way, Pet Sematary 2 sucked.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It was pointless.
I know it was.
Didn't even have good actors.
I know. It had what's his name from Terminator 2.
No name boy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. That's sad. I don't know that. Okay. Oh, and by the way, one thing I will say about Pet Sematary, I remember when I would see the preview for Pet Sematary as a kid, because I didn't watch it for years, because I thought, man, I love my animals and dogs. Well, I don't want to see this, because we always had dogs. And like Pascal, though, always freaked me out, because I thought he was the bad guy. Like if you watch the trailer, you go, "Oh, he's the guy with half brain sticking out. He must be the bad guy." You never think Pascal's the good guy. And he is. He's the good guy in the movie.
He's trying to warn him.
I know. Lewis, no. Okay, so what do you got next, Skyler?
Psycho.
Oh, okay. We're both going to talk about this because it's on my list too.
Anything Alfred Hitchcock, but that's the pinnacle for me.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Man, this movie is so intense. 1960, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, as you mentioned, starring Anthony Perkins. Janet Leigh, do you know who Janet Leigh is?
I do, but now that you put me on the point, I can't tell you anything.
That's what everybody says when they don't know the answer.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's Jamie Lee Curtis's mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll get to Jamie Lee Curtis, obviously, later on. But Janet Leigh, who's Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, it's got John Gavin in it. Okay, so did you know what this story is based on? Did you know who this story is kind of based on? Loosely. It's based on a famous serial killer.
I don't know the name, but I know it was based on actual events.
Ed Gein.
Yeah.
Okay, and so what's interesting is Ed Gein, there's also 2 other movies based on him. There's Silence of the Lambs, that's kind of loosely based on, and Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Really?
Because this Ed Gein guy, apparently, I don't know all the facts, but this is from the 1950s, I think. And basically, it was a small little town. He had murdered. He was a real loner, I guess, and he had murdered a bartender that was at a local bar or whatever. And nobody could figure out what was going on. And the one understood a little documentary that I watched years ago. And like I said, I could be totally messing this up, and I'm sorry if I am. But somebody had questioned whether or not he had done it, because they had thought they had seen her that night, him with her that night. They go to the house, and the house is got skulls as ashtrays and lamps. Like the cops had no idea what they had just walked into, because they were just going there to question him.
Yeah.
And come to find out, there's people's skin that he was wearing. And so anyways, he apparently had this obsession with his mother. And there you go, Psycho, Norman Bates, man.
Yeah. And I found a fact about that movie.
Okay, cool. Let's hear it.
It said Walt Disney refused to allow Hitchcock to film at Disneyland in the 60s because, and quoted from Hitchcock, was That's the guy that made that disgusting Psycho.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, he wouldn't let him film there for any reason.
Wow, man. And then yet, here Disney's done Frozen. They should be banned for making that movie. You know? What about... Alfred Hitchcock could have thrown that in his face. Gosh, I hate that movie. No offense, man, if your family digs it or anything, but like we tried watching it, and I know I'm getting off subject, but we had tried watching it because I don't mind Disney movies. Like there's a lot of Disney movies that I love actually. Robin Hood, Sword and Stone, Toy Story.
The real ones.
Yeah, exactly. The real Disney movie. And we sat down to watch it, and like when they're like, oh, and then like 5 seconds later, oh, it's like a song every 5 minutes. Yeah. I can only take so much.
What did you think of the remake of Psycho?
Oh, with Vince Vaughn and I think Gus Van Sant. He did a scene for scene exact remake of it, and a lot of people hate it. I like it.
And I like the fact that it's a scene by scene.
I know. I mean, how can
it's
you?
It's a remake.
How can you complain? Like people get mad at remakes because it's nothing compared to the original. Well, guess what? He made the original just updated.
Yeah, I loved it.
I did too. I thought it was really good. Let's see, I had Anne Heche in it as well. Viggo Mortensen, who was the boyfriend, I believe, in it as well. So yeah, I didn't mind it. It wasn't horrible, but it's no Psycho.
No.
The original. I mean, it made showers creepy. You know, like because even I mean that makes you really think. And what's cool about that scene in the shower is it's also violins, and violins to me are the epitome of freakiness. To horror movies, like you got Insidious and you got Psycho, and I'm sure it's
Church and Nosferatu.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like in all these classic movies that we're just not thinking of at the moment. It also, interesting fact, this can't trump your Disney fact, but I'll say this: it's the first film to show a toilet flushing. Did you know that?
Really?
It's the first. I mean, so he was breaking all kinds of ground.
Yeah, visionary. Using Hershey's chocolate syrup as blood and everything.
Yeah, that's great, man. Okay, so Psycho, that's a good one. Since we both agree on that one, what's your next one? By the way, what number are we at?
I don't even know.
I have no idea either.
I'm kind of looking around because we've mentioned some of the ones I have. So I'll go for one that we haven't even mentioned yet, The Strangers.
Oh, yes. So glad you put that on this. That's on my honorable mentions.
And the only reason I like that movie is for one scene. And Liv Tyler is asking them, why are you doing this? And they just simply said, because you were home.
Because you were home.
And that freaked me out.
The freakiest line, and one of the most freakiest line in any horror movie I've ever seen. Like, that's intense, man. That, there's no, well, because you killed my mama.
Yeah. And it's kind of based on an event that happened to the director as a child.
Yeah, that's right. He had okay, no, go ahead, tell it. Tell the story.
Some stranger as a child came to his house and knocked on the door and asked if so-and-so lived here. And he said, no, they don't live here. And then later on, I think that night or the next day, he found out that other houses were broken into.
That's right.
And then how you combine all that
I know
into what that produced.
I know. That is so. I'd also heard a rumor that it was also based on the Charles Manson thing back in the day, but I'd read that story as well because when I did the 31 Days of Horror reviews, I did The Strangers in there, and I'd mentioned that, and I'd always heard like possibly the Charles Manson 3 women that broke into the one home and killed that one actress or whatever, but I didn't see how that was related. And then when I read this story, like you just said, I was like, oh, okay, well this makes more sense. This matches the movie, and like his house didn't get broke into because they were home. But it was funny that in this situation, it's because you were home is why we broke into your house.
And the song, Mama Tried, it's played several times in the movie. You know why it's in there?
Okay, now I do know this fact, and I don't know if this is the fact you're going to say, but wasn't he Waylon Jennings, or not Waylon Jennings, who sang the song?
No, Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard, I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry, I said that. My brother killed me for that. Okay, so Merle Haggard, wasn't it they called Merle Haggard and the Strangers?
And the Strangers.
Is that it?
That's why they picked that song.
Oh, yes.
I thought, well, that's pretty cool.
That is
really good.
That is definitely awesome. And it's cool that I'm glad you mentioned that because I have something to go along with my movie later on that I mentioned in 31 Days of Horror that I'll get into a little bit later. The Strangers is a great movie. Okay, so if you guys don't already know, and I'm going to throw this on at the beginning of the thing that spoilers here, okay? We're running all these movies, but if you've not seen these movies by now, I'm sorry. Okay, but in The Strangers, oh man, remember when the dude from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Because he's one of the guys. He's coming around the corner, and you're thinking, oh man, boom.
Yeah. I was like, oh, it's all right. They got help now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, and actually what was funny is the dude behind him, the guy was behind him the whole time because he was fixing to kill him with the mask, the Strangers guy. If I don't even remember the scene exactly, but as he's walking down the hallway, he's like, so-and-so, and the guy's right behind him. So he was probably going to get him anyways.
Yeah.
But, man, I think I'd rather go a little stab in the back than I would give him a freaking head fall out. That was horrible, but great movie. Okay, so moving on. I think that's our, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that's our 5 or whatever. You know what? We don't even say it's top 10. It'll probably change. We're going to see if it's 10. Okay, so my next one that I'm going to throw in there, I'm going to say is, let's see. Let's go with Scream. All right, Scream. Oh, what? Oh, my gosh.
It was good.
Now we have a difference of opinion. Here we go.
I mean, it had Drew Barrymore at the very beginning of it.
Yeah?
So that kind of killed it for me right there.
Yeah, but, okay, are you a Drew Barrymore fan?
I like some of her movies.
Okay, well, guess what? The ones you didn't like, it gets made up for you at the beginning when she dies.
That's true. I did like that part.
I mean, and that was...
It was a good movie, and it was one that I couldn't figure out. And the kids will tell you that they don't like going to movies with me because halfway through, okay, they did it.
You've already... Hey, here's Skyler in the movie. Hey, just to let you know, it's probably going to be that person. So just giving you a heads up.
Oh, Dad, dang it. I did that in the Batman movie.
Oh, gosh.
We don't like going to movies with you.
Okay, so I'm going to defend Scream. All right, Skyler? I'm the defense. You're the prosecution in this situation. I love Scream. Scream is a buddy of mine made a really good point. You don't have Scream unless you have Halloween, because I think Scream follows that Halloween guideline. Kevin Williamson, who wrote it, who also wrote some Dawson Creek, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and such, who's a really good writer, actually, because I really liked I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's in my honorable mentions. Like, I love how there's so many homages to Halloween in the movie. The kids are actually watching Halloween in the movie. Excuse me, burp. I just love the way that it's written. You have no idea. The entire movie you're going, oh, no, maybe it's him. Because I went to the theaters and seen it, and I just love how that was one of the first movies where I go, whoa, wait, no, it's not him. No, it's her, you know? And, man, there's so many freaking people in this movie. Let's see, where's my note on it? Okay, Neve Campbell, whatever. Dave Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Shaggy, Scooby, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich, Drew Barrymore. Skyler is one of his favorite actresses, and she was killed first, thanks to Skyler, and Jamie Kennedy. Yeah, Jamie. You remember the Jamie Kennedy experiment?
Yeah.
Like, sadly, that show was kind of good. I mean, there was some good pranks in there, but Jamie Kennedy is just an absolute nuts. Like, Jamie's going to listen to this, but you never know. Actually, Jamie probably would listen to it. He's got nothing to do right now. I'll listen to Nerdy Harry, sure. Okay, but one thing I did like is that Scream actually brought to the attention of the viewers the rules for surviving horror movies.
And it's the first movie to ever do that.
Yes. I mean,
I like that part.
They let you in on it. They let you in on what's going on in the movie. So you can't say, you can't, obviously, no sex, and number 2, no drinking or drugs, and number 3, I'll be right back. And that's so true. If you look at all the 80s, obviously they're talking about the 80s horror movies, but I love the fact that they brought the horror rules in it. Nobody had done that before. And Wes Craven, who done Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes.
I mean
he can't win them all, I guess. But.
What are you talking? Oh my gosh.
It's good. It's one of the movies that I've watched once, and
that's where you messed up. How old were you seeing it?
When did it come out?
96.
96. I was 19.
Where were you? Like Ethiopia when you saw this one? That had to. Maybe it was a bad area.
I was in Middleburg, Florida. I was graduating high school.
Okay, well, maybe you need to watch these movies in Europe because your ones that you like are in Europe, and the ones you're watching over here suck.
Some little poke town.
Go to Amsterdam. I'm sure all the movies are good if you watch movies in Amsterdam. Like, oh man, I love all of them, man. Cheech and Chong.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so Scream is mine, and I'm the judge on this one, Skyler. I'm sorry you lose this one. I rule in the favor of Anthony. Okay, so what is your next one, Skyler?
And it's one we mentioned already. Was Jaws.
Okay, so let's talk about Jaws. Terrified of the Ocean. That was a movie that made. I talked to a guy today at work who I work with, Bill, real funny guy, and I said, "Hey man, he's probably in his early 50s, I believe." I said, "What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?" He said, "Jaws." Jaws was a scary movie. I was like, "Wow, I can't." Like today, it's not that much to me, But man, those movies back then, nobody had ever done. And Steven Spielberg.
Groundbreaker.
Yeah. I mean, I love Nicole and I are always constantly sing the song that when they're in the bottom of the boat.
Oh yeah.
I'm tired and I want to go.
Home.
Yeah. That's it. We're always just like if we're tired, we'll start singing that song. Just had another drink about an hour ago. Okay, yeah. But dude, I love Roy Schneider in that movie. Gosh, that is such a that's one of the best like guy roles ever, man. I mean, he's like, die you son. That is so cool. Didn't he say die or wait, what does he say? What does he say right before he blows his freaking head off?
Open your mouth wider.
Or does he say open up? Oh, how can we not know this guy?
I watch it once a week. It seems like. It was one of the first DVDs I bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It used to come on like TBS. That was like
all the time.
TBS played that and Shawshank Redemption. Like those were the two movies that were always on TBS. And man, it's just a really and Richard Dreyfuss in the movie.
I liked it.
Yeah. Little Richard's laugh, always cracks me up. Okay.
Oh wait, I gotta.
Okay, yeah. Let's hear it. Let's hear it.
When you think Jaws, what's the one line you think of?
Let's see. I don't know if anybody can hear that. A little software update. Come on. Hopefully nobody can hear on that pipe. If you hear boom, 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 it's just software update. Line I think about. I know. We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah, that was completely ad-libbed.
Really?
That was Roy Schneider's thing. It wasn't even supposed to be in the movie.
Wow.
And he backed it up, and then he said that line, and Spielberg kept
Isn't
it
that
in.
cool? I love how scenes like that happen and that weren't meant to happen, and it turns out to be the epitome of the scene. I love that. Just his reaction when he's like, "We're gonna need a bigger boat." Just that is
and the tension between Richard Dreyfuss
and then Quint.
Yeah, they really hated each other.
Really,
they did not get along. Quint, the actor, could not stand Richard Dreyfuss.
I knew he hated the movie afterwards. Like I don't know. I shouldn't say that he hated the movie. I had heard he didn't like. The way that he played it, and I heard he didn't. I guess I did hear that he didn't like the movie at all. And I'm thinking, dude, you're really awesome in this movie.
Yeah.
You're Quint, man. you nailed whatever. You maybe not what you were going for, but what I wanted to see.
That shocked me when I read that. I was like, but you can go back and see.
You can see them.
Their scenes.
They're tense.
They're real intense.
That's true. That is interesting fact there. Thank you, Skyler. Okay, so moving on, let's see. The next one I'm going to throw out there is Evil Dead 2. Okay. Yeah. So you said Army of Darkness, which to me is the comedy epitome of the Evil Dead trilogies. I mean, like you said, you go to a movie expecting horror, and you get 90% comedy, which was great about Army of Darkness. What I loved about Evil Dead 2 and why it's on my favorite horror movie list is because it's actually a horror movie. Like, it's a horror movie, but then you start to see Bruce Campbell's Three Stooginess come out. I love the fact that to me, it really is, along with American Werewolf in London, the first two movies, I believe, that said, hey, we can really gross you out and scare you and also kind of make you laugh, oh, wow, that was... Man, this chair. I hate this chair. Turn that stinking vibration off. It just pops on out of nowhere. No, I'm just kidding. That was Skyler's phone. Darn you, Skyler. Gosh, I'm going to have to... Well, what's more important? Podcast or mom, man? What is priorities here, dude? No, I'm just kidding. I called Skyler out and I shouldn't have done that. No. But next time, never bring your phone with you because
podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, but if kids need you, you know, just explain to the cops later on, hey, listen, guys.
They're fine.
I was on a podcast that 3 people listened to. Okay, so Evil Dead 2, Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell. I love how Sam Raimi always puts Bruce Campbell in his movies. Like he's in Spider-Man, all the Spider-Man. I love when he's in Spider-Man, where he's at the first one, he's actually the ringside announcer. For when the Bone Crusher or whatever, he's the ring announcer. And the second one, he's the guy in the theater who keeps telling him, shh, you know, he's like, you can't go inside and see the play.
And he's great for bit roles.
I know, like and Sam knows how to use him.
He's trying to be in every movie that's been made.
No, he's great, man. And by the way, his autobiography, If Chins Could Kill, Confessions of a B-list actor, B-movie actor, is great. If you like reading, read Bruce Campbell's book. It's really awesome. But anyways, back to Evil Dead 2. I just, like I said, it's comedy, it's horror.
And it's a good mixture of both of them. Yeah,
it doesn't overdo on either one. Yeah. I remember the first time somebody described to me about Evil Dead 2 said, it's basically Evil Dead. They just redid it and put comedy in it, which is kind of true and kind of not, because really Evil Dead 2, they go over Evil Dead 1 at the beginning, and then they come back and, you know, whatever. Oh, and did you know that Bridget Fonda is in Evil Dead 2? She's got like a short little scene. I don't know if you remember Bridget Fonda. She was from like, what was she in? Remember the show La Femme Nikita? That was on USA. Okay, what was the show that was based on? The movie. She's like some kind of hit woman, or whatever. Okay, that's Bridget Fonda. She was also in Single White Female. You remember?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty fun. She's got a small little scene in Evil Dead 2 where she turns around and the camera always comes through. She plays his girlfriend in part 2 for that 1 second. You know, that gets kidnapped or whatever. So that's like I'm almost 100% sure that's Bridget Fonda. But anyways. Let's see, things that I wrote down here for Evil Dead 2 that I wanted to mention. No, I guess we already said them. Okay, yeah. So anyways, I love Evil Dead 2, and it is definitely on my list of favorite horror movies of all time. All right, Skyler, what do you got?
I got Silence of the Lambs.
Is this our final one?
I think I got one more.
Okay, because...
Or two. No, I got 2 more, I think.
Oh, wow. Man, am I really this far behind?
Yeah, I think after that I got 2 more.
Okay. All right, Silence of the Lambs. Talk to me about it.
It was Anthony Hopkins. It was really the first movie I ever watched him in.
Okay.
And that's been it.
And he's Hannibal.
Hannibal Lecter.
You know.
No one else could ever play that. And they've tried.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't like any of the other movies that they did. The Hannibal.
Oh, the Hannibal series.
Yeah, and then the Hannibal movie with Ray Liotta and Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore was playing the Clarice.
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
But yeah, Silence of the Lambs, first time I seen it, I thought he was the bad guy the entire movie. Okay, spoiler, obviously. Like, I thought they were trying to get him the entire movie.
Yeah.
And then when I watched him, it was like, wait a minute, he's helping them the entire time, and they're trying to get...
And it's somebody weirder.
Yeah, that one guy, man, he was creepy.
We use that line at work.
What is
it puts the lotion on its skin.
That is such a creepy role, man. Like, can you imagine your agent going, okay, so I got you a part in the Silence of the Lambs movie. He's like, oh man, are you serious? Yep. It's got Anthony Hopkins. Oh yes, he's awesome. He's such a great. It's got obviously Jodie Foster. Oh man, I love Jodie Foster. That's great. Okay, so a little bit about the character you're going to be playing. How do I explain this? Let me just let you read it. You get back to me. Yeah. No, okay. So yeah, Silence of the Lambs is a great horror movie, great psychological.
I think that's what I liked the most about it. It wasn't overly violent and it wasn't gory, but it made you think. Yeah,
and to me, I put it like right there with is it 7? Yeah, 7 with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow. It's like and obviously Kevin Spacey. Like that's a great psychological horror movie, and that should really be on my honorable mentions as well.
I know, I didn't even think of that.
And I love the movie, but it's just so dark for me. Like a lot of movie, you're just kind of like squinting to I can't. What's going on there? And
it's like, is it ever sun?
I
sun there?
I know, it's true. I wonder if it's set in Seattle, because isn't Seattle like that? I think Seattle's like where it's always raining. Okay, so. Excuse me. I'm going to say that was a really good selection. Silence of the Lambs, I really enjoy. For my next one I've got here, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and throw these in there, and I'm going to clump them all together. Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula, the Universal Monsters. Yes, the originals.
Boris Karloff.
Yeah, man. Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi. I'll tell you what I love out of all those horror movies, because I love the Wolfman. I mean, Dracula's probably... out of the Mummy, Dracula, Wolfman, and Frankenstein, I'd probably go number 1 is Frankenstein, number 2 Wolfman, number 3 Dracula, number 4 the Mummy. But the reason I love Frankenstein, the reason it's number 1, and I think it's so cool. Okay, so let me set the scene for you here. When at the beginning of the movie in Frankenstein, I don't know how long it's been since you've seen the original, but in the original they have a guy come out in front of the curtain. And he's talking to everyone. So, like, can you imagine you're watching this movie back then, and so you're excited and yada yada. You don't know what this movie is really going to be about. You know about the novel, but you've probably never seen anything like this before. And like they even refer to Boris Karloff. They don't even say Boris Karloff. They put the creature and a question mark in the credits. Yeah. So you're kind of like, wait a minute, that's weird. What's that? Yeah, exactly. So at the beginning of the movie, a guy comes out and warns the audience that, basically, if you're too scared to handle this, maybe you need to leave now. And then what I love what he says, okay, I've warned you. And, and then he goes, and you're like, can you imagine?
People are like, okay, we're leaving.
Okay, sweetie, my stomach's not feeling too good. Let's go.
You want popcorn? I'll go wait in line.
I got to go to the bathroom. Let's go home. But no, I love the Universal Monster movies. I'm going to clump all those together as just one
Monster
movie.
Squad.
Yeah, Monster Squad. That's
pretty much every one of them.
Great honorable mention. I'll definitely throw that in there. You know what? And I said The Mummy and Dracula, but another one I forgot was Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I remember watching that on TV.
Yeah, I love the Creature from TV. Yeah, I love Creature from the Black Lagoon. I like it actually better than. I definitely like it better than The Mummy. But I don't know that I like it better than Dracula. Yeah, I like it better than Dracula. Don't get me wrong, Bela Lugosi is awesome as Dracula, and I love the movie. But man, Creature from the Black Lagoon is just such a cool movie. Okay, so what do you got? What's your next one?
Sixth Sense. Sixth
Sense. Okay, is this your number 1? Are we on number 1 now? Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so Skyler, let's redo this. So Skyler, what's your number 1 movie?
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense, I would have never guessed that. All right, so tell me why Sixth Sense is on your favorite horror movie of all time.
You couldn't figure that movie out.
Yeah.
We went, me, my dad, and my mom went to the theater and watched this movie, and he was just like me, or I'm just like him. Like, don't take long, you can figure it out. And we're looking at each other watching this, and then to come to find out at the very end, everything that was red was a ghost. And you're thinking, well, the doorknob was red, and he was wearing this. And then you think back, oh, he never changed his clothes.
Yeah. But he'd have his coat off, he'd have his scarf on.
Sitting there across from that boy's mom, I'm thinking, gosh, she don't even talk to him.
Sitting at the dinner table with his wife. Yeah. She's kind of not, talking to him.
It was one of the first movies to stump me.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Now, hold on just a second. I'm going to call you out here. Now, you loved... Did you say you did figure out Scream pretty quickly? You didn't, right?
No.
Okay. No. Now, hold on. You love The Sixth Sense because it had you guessing to the end.
Yeah.
Okay, so Scream? Or did you just not like the cast?
I liked half of the cast.
Okay, so they got killed probably.
There was too many famous people.
Oh, okay.
It was like, let's get all these famous people we know and put them in a movie.
Okay, yeah.
Which, I mean, it worked. It was good. It wasn't great for me.
Okay. No. It's okay, man.
It's like...
Nobody's perfect.
What's that one scene in The Sixth Sense when he actually gets shot?
Yeah.
And I had no idea that was a Wahlberg.
Yeah, that's Donnie.
And I was like...
From Blue Bloods.
Yeah.
I know.
When I found that out, I had to go back and watch it. It's like...
I know. He looks horrible. That's a new kid on the block. And he wasn't hanging tough.
No.
He was hurting.
He was hungry.
He was hurt. Joey and Jordan have gone on and done all these great things, and poor Donnie now
He's struggling.
is in an apartment talking to a psychologist
In his underwear.
or yeah, in his underwear. I mean, they should do like a documentary, like this legit documentary, like make it look all legit. And Joey McIntyre went on to do all these great things, and Jordan so and so, and I think that's all the ones I know. Yeah, and so Donnie Wahlberg. And so, like, unfortunately, Donnie, years later.
Killed his therapist.
Yeah, that's it. His therapist. Okay, that's a great one. Great ending as well. I remember when the ring come rolling around, she dropped it. And, like, her mouth, like the cold air.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're like, wait a minute. What?
We talked about that for an hour on the ride home.
I know. M. Night Shyamalan blew everybody away. And you know what? I don't think movies... It's going to be still a long time before a movie can do that to somebody because you're so prepared for it now because of The Sixth Sense. You're constantly trying to go, oh, okay, they're probably dead. Okay, you have to consider that as well, that they could be dead. And you never thought that before. You never thought, and he just edited it. That movie was all about editing. If you don't edit that movie just right.
Oh, yeah.
It
could have went either way.
It could have went, yeah, exactly right. And so.
What got me down the most about, who was it that directed it? M. Night?
Yeah, M. Night, yeah. Wrote and directed it.
2 more movies, like Unbreakable was real good.
Really good.
Then you had this one.
Yeah. The Village, did you like Village?
That's what it started to go down.
Yeah.
For me.
But you know what was really great? And it's really right there with The Sixth Sense to me, Signs.
Yes. After that,
my gosh.
it's like,
I know.
They were heralding him as the next Hitchcock.
I know, but you know what, though? Where he messed up is he's like that rookie quarterback that comes out in the first game and throws 500 yards and 6 touchdowns, and you go, oh, my gosh, we've never seen anything like this before. And then the next game he throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then like by that 4th game you're going, well, man, he only threw for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns. You're used to the 500 because you're expecting it every single time. And I still think he's a really good writer and director. You know he's redoing Tales from the Crypt?
Yeah, I read that, and I'm
on TNT.
Hopeful. I'm hopeful.
But now I'll warn you. I've heard that the guy who plays the Crypt Keeper in the original, he's not been contacted. So he's a little disappointed about that. He's gone on record as saying he'd really love to do it again. But unfortunately, HBO owns that character, that puppet. So TNT, which is the show that's going to be doing it, M. Night Shyamalan, can't use that puppet because HBO won't give up those rights. Yeah. So he said he will definitely have the Crypt Keeper in it, but he won't have the HU. I mean, you got to...
yeah. That's what makes it.
That's Tales from the Crypt, man. We got off from Sixth Sense to Tales from the Crypt. Where did we go? But it's still a good way to go. Okay, so my number one, if you truly know me, which... My wife and brother are probably the only 2 people that know I would have this on here. But Halloween is my number one movie. I know it's probably not your Jason Voorhees or your Freddy Krueger or whatever, but like monsters. But like Michael Myers is kind of like, he's the Hannibal. He's a psychotic
He's
killer.
More human than the other ones.
Yeah.
The other ones, I know that can't happen, but that.
Yeah, man. Michael Myers was a really... what was really cool is... It was directed and scored by John Carpenter. John Carpenter, who does the famous music for Halloween. Actually, he did the music for the movie as well as directing the movie. He also did the same thing for Christine. Like, he directed Christine. He did the score for Christine, which I love that movie as well. That's a really cool movie. I love Donald Pleasance. I tell you, he's not a man. That's one of my brother and I's favorite parts. What was really cool, it was on a $300,000 budget and made $47 million in the U.S. I mean, that's pretty awesome, man. And what was so cool, I mentioned this earlier, it's like little to no violence and like no gore. I mean, that's it.
Really. Yeah.
I mean, it's a legitimately good horror movie that doesn't need that stuff. I mean, they didn't play by the rules, you know what I mean? And so I love Halloween. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. It's the movie that leads up when my brother and I do the 31 Days of Horror every year. We lead up to I have to watch Halloween every Halloween. So at the end of the night, yeah, and that's my movie. Okay. So are there any honorable mentions that you wanted to throw in there, or is that your 10 right there that you're going to stick with? Any that come to the top of your head while we were doing this that you thought, oh man, I forgot about that one?
Well, there's one that I watch every Halloween, and I've watched it since my dad woke me up and told me, hey, you got to come watch this movie.
Wow.
And it was, and it's a creepy movie. It's by far not scary at all.
Titanic? Is this?
No,
okay.
no. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot you're a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Looking at it now, I'm thinking, why? Why would my dad let me watch that? But it's Tim Curry.
Yeah.
There's nobody better.
Yeah. Character-wise? Yeah. Pennywise.
Yeah. I mean, that legend.
Yeah, legend.
Darkness.
That's right. I forgot about that.
He's such a great actor. Now he's in a wheelchair and stroke.
Oh man, no kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's really.
Wait, no,
shape.
Actually, didn't he pass away, or is he still alive?
No, he's still alive.
Hold on, we got to check this out because I thought. See if you can get it before me because you might be able to get this for me. All right, guys, we're doing some serious fact checking because this will bum me out if he is passed away. I'm hoping. Wait, hold on. Let's see. Tim Curry.
Nope, not yet.
You're right. He reported to have suffered a major stroke at his home in Los Angeles. Man, that's awful. Man, that stinks. But yeah. Okay, so that is sad news, but at least, he's not gone.
No, yeah.
But yeah, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Wow.
Man. I'll watch that and I'll watch It.
Okay, now because I was going to say I got to throw It as one of my honorable mentions because you know what, the movie's not great, but Pennywise, every single scene with Pennywise is that's what makes the movie. That's the movie.
It's not the other characters.
Dude, that ending, a spider in the cave, like no.
I want to see what they do with the remake.
Oh yeah, I mean. Maybe. Have you
seen?
Yeah, I've seen him. I've seen him, but are they going to go gore? Do they do gore just to have it in there? If they go by, I've heard the book's even better than the original movie.
Yeah, it's about that thick.
Yeah, have you read it?
Yeah.
Did you like it? Did you like the book?
It, yeah.
Okay, cool. Another honorable mention of mine, and I cannot believe I didn't throw it on there, Skyler. The Shining.
Oh, and I was tossing it up between that and Jaws.
Because The Shining, man.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Yeah, the rumor is that Stanley Kubrick, supposedly, Stanley Kubrick actually typed every single one of those pages. That's insane.
I don't doubt it.
That's insane. Now, did you know that he, of course, this is based off the Stephen King novel. They didn't even associate with each other during this time. He called, apparently Stanley Kubrick called Stephen King one morning and asked him one question. He wanted to ask him one question about the movie. Stephen King apparently still talks about the story. But that's the only association they had during the movie. And he felt that Stephen King, like the book was weak. He said, he's quoted as saying that the book was weak. And so he went a different direction. I shouldn't say a different direction, but he just did things differently. And it's wild. I was reading also that Danny Torrance, the little kid, Danny had no idea it was a horror movie until he was 16 when he grew up. And he had always thought it was a drama. They tried to protect him and not let him know that it was a horror movie. So when he was on the set, they'd always make him think it was a drama. And
talking about messing a kid up.
I know. Now you want to talk really about messing somebody up, and we're fixing to wrap it up here. But I got to tell you this because I was reading this the other day about The Shining. The girl that plays Wendy, what is her name? My mind skips me at the moment. But the girl who plays Wendy, Stanley Kubrick went out of her way to make her life miserable on that movie because he wanted her to be miserable in the movie. So like he would go, the scene where she's backing up and he's like grabbing at her, he's like, he's like, yeah, he's like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your brains in, like apparently they did that scene over 100 times because he was just basically trying to drive her insane. He wanted her to be miserable. And she said it was the hardest thing she's ever done to this day.
Really?
And like he tried to but they said he was great with Jack Nicholson. He wanted Jack to be comfortable and he constantly let Jack, he wanted to see shoot after shoot or take after take after take because he knew he wanted Jack to do something different. And so he would wait until he finally wanted, but he'd always be cool with Jack about it.
Yeah.
Where the girl who played Wendy, he'd always constantly just torture. Here's Johnny. That was improvised, by the way. That wasn't in the scene. He improvised. Here's Johnny.
You know, there's a sequel to that book.
Yeah, what's it called?
It's Dr. Murder or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. And it's Danny grown up.
Have you read it?
No, it's the lady I work with has read it.
And she said it was pretty good?
She said it was good.
Okay, cool, man. All right, so Skyler, what'd you think?
It was great.
Did you enjoy this?
Yeah.
You're not scarred for life now?
No. Not like Nightmare on Elm Street.
And you're not in Iceland, so you're okay. You didn't do this podcast in Iceland.
Yeah, so I'm safe.
Well, Skyler, thanks so much for stepping up to the plate here and helping me do this horror episode. I know Joey appreciates it. I appreciate you doing this. And maybe we can have you on here again, man, if you're up for it.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
Okay, Skyler. Okay. Thank you so much to Skyler's family for letting me borrow him tonight. Again, hi, Brandon, Jackson, Zoe. Hope you guys are doing good. Thanks so much for letting us borrow. Obviously Skyler and Melissa, thank you for letting us borrow Skyler as well.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode. I love doing this episode. I love going through all these horror movies and finding out different things about them. But anyways, guys, we'll see you on the next episode. I'm Anthony, and he's Skyler. Say bye, Skyler.
Bye, Skyler.
Bye, Skyler. Bye, guys.